everybody, this is Michelle Fox and welcome back to The Simple Quilter. Today I'm going to be talking about finishing UFOs. I've really gotten to a big bind because over the past year and a half, or coming up on a year and a half, I have been creating more projects for my YouTube channel. So now I have those in addition to the UFOs I had before I started my UFO channel. And I'm really going to have to take some time to get those finished. And the reason I want to do that is because for me, UFOs aren't just taking up space in my quilt room. They're kind of taking up space in my mind. I think about them. So they're on my mind. They just take up space in my mind, which I'd really like to get them done and free up that space for other things. And I'm really feeling like I don't want to start any new projects because I have so many UFOs. Now, I've been thinking about different ways to tackle this. And I just recently got Sherry McConnell's new quilting planner and workbook. And I purchased her planner, the first one that she put out last year, and I really do like them. So that kind of got me in the mood to get started. But one of the first things is to really make a list of your works in progress or your UFOs. Now, some people delineate those two. I think of a UFO, I call them UFOs. A UFO to me is not a kit. It's a project that you've started on, whether you've started cutting the fabric or sewing the fabric. Once you cut the fabric, to me, it becomes a UFO. So the UFOs I have are anywhere from the beginning of. Some are almost like kits I've done very little sewing on, so I need to complete the entire top. And some I just need to do the binding and the label. So what I've decided to do, I've decided to pull all of my UFOs out. And I'm telling you, I have quite a stack here. I didn't think I had as many as I did, but my pile just kept growing. Okay, so the first thing I got out were all of my projects. And these are projects that are smaller, of course, but the tops are done, but they still need backs, battings, they need to be quilted, bound, and labels. So, let me just show you a little bit. It doesn't look like there's many, but I have more than one of some. For example, I have 3 of this one. I just have one of this and one of this. But I have 2 of these Liberty table runners. I have 2 of these. And I have this one still that I need to quilt, piece the back for, and quilt. Now, as I'm going through my projects, an important thing to do is as I get them out, I'm deciding, are these projects I want to finish? Now, for some reason, I have this thought in my mind that everything I have to finish and have quilted. But I've been having so many quilts quilted, and as you well know, it's expensive. I'm not sure I can continue to do that. So there is at least one quilt top I think I'm not going to have quilted. So I'm deciding what to do with that. So as I go through all these, I'm looking to see, are these quilts I want to finish? Are these projects that I want to invest my time in and that I want to complete? And so far, all of these are yeses. I like the fabrics, I like the patterns. Some of them are old, some of them are from 2012. Yes, 2012. But I still like them, and I don't want to just, give them up. Okay, so here are some of my other projects. In my cabinets, I pulled out all of the projects that were in my bins that needed to be finished. For example, this is is the star quilt with the little quilt saying in it. It's the entire piece that needs to be finished. Do I want to finish this? Absolutely. This is going to be a beautiful quilt. I love the fabrics. I've been wanting to make kind of a red and white or red and cream quilt for a long time. So yes, I want to finish that. And I went through each of these and decided if these were quilts I wanted to finish. For example, this is a patriotic string quilt. I love doing these. These are quick and easy. So as I was going through these, I thought, now why is it that these aren't done? And all of them were just simply because I started other new projects. Now there is one quilt, and it's a wagon wheel quilt, and I had some difficulty with that. That's before I got better at maintaining a scant fourth of an inch, so that quilt is not going together as easily as I had hoped. So that may be one that I have a little bit more difficulty with now. So once I start working on that to finish, if I have a lot of problems, that may be one that I do not finish. Okay, this, I bought all that fabric. I showed you on a video all that flannel. Well, this is a ragtime quilt I've started for one of my sisters, and this is on my list. Now, I had planned to do all 5, but I only started one, so I'm not going to count the other 5 yet because I haven't cut the fabrics for that. I've cut the fabrics for my sister, or one of my sisters, and I'm going to work on that. So that is on my UFO list. This is the quilt top that I'm really not sure I want to have quilted. I'm not sure I want to invest $100 to $125 to have it quilted, simply because I don't like the overall look of it. So that's the one that I'm really considering not getting done. This is a quilt that I love. It's one that I just made the backing for. I definitely want to finish that one. I have a quilt at the Quilters, and that's one I definitely need to finish. I have stacked up all the quilts that simply need binding. And again, I have 7 of those. 7 of these. Do I want to finish them all? Absolutely. I've paid to have them quilted. I like how they look, and I am going to have those finished. I am going to finish those. So when I finished getting all of my projects out, then I started making a list. And I'm going to show you what the 2 different methods that I used for creating lists. And yes, right now I do have 2 lists, but I wanted to show you a more economical way to make a list. Now, if you do want to purchase her Quilting Life Planner and Workbook, I'll leave a link down in the description below, and it's not very expensive. And then this is the form that I just made on my computer. Alright, and all I've done here, if I could share this document, I would, but I don't know how to share this and put it in the description below, but this just took a couple of minutes to make. And even if you don't have a computer, you can just draw columns like this on notebook paper. Okay, so on this, I just have titled it Quilt UFO List, and I also put the year. The year's not showing up there, but it will show up in my other ones in just a minute. And then here I put the numbers, so I numbered my projects. I put the quilt, I put the date it was assigned, or the date that I can recall I started it, and the date completed. Okay, so here is my list a little bit closer. And what I've done is I've just numbered each project, and it goes to 24, but I have 3 of the Ho 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 quilts to do, and I have 2 of the coffee table runners to complete. I kept thinking about financial advisors who always tell you to tackle the smallest bill first. Well, I've decided to tackle the projects first that need the least amount of work. So I'm going to try to first focus on the quilts that just need binding and a label. Now, this is how I categorize them. Here in the first category are the quilts that need the least amount of work. Those are the quilts that just need the bindings and the labels put on. Okay, and then as I move down, the quilts need a little bit more work. Then my next category are quilts that need to be quilted. And those were all the ones that you saw up on my design wall. So I did number those 1 through 8 through 16, but I also did kind of like a sub number system because this is its own category. So as I go down the list, the projects are requiring more work to do. Now I have a ragtime quilt listed. All the quilting will be done on that. I just have to finish making the blocks, deciding on the design, and then just sewing those together. So I had ragtime quilts in its own category. And then the last category are quilt tops, are quilts where the quilt needs to be, the top needs to be pieced, it needs backing, it needs to be quilted, it needs to be bound, and a label needs to put on. So these down at the bottom of my list are requiring more work than those up here at the top. So I'm going to try to start up here at the top and work my way down. That's my strategy for tackling this big list of UFOs. Now, I have told you how I'm going to tackle this, and I'm going to try to keep you updated on how these are coming along. If you have tips or suggestions, please share those in the comments below because they may help me and they may help other people who also watch my channel. So if you've enjoyed today's video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Always share with a friend. Leave a comment in the comment section below. I love to get the comments and I try to reply to each and every one. And until next time, have fun.